Hey, what's up, everybody? PL here. Today, I want to talk about the FGC's inconsistent standards and gatekeeping mentality. Now, there's an interesting trend in the FGC where certain games are praised despite having elements that could be considered unbalanced. These games have earned their places as competitive classics, but it's curious how similar mechanics in newer titles are often viewed as disqualifying for their competitive legitimacy. This inconsistency reveals a lack of clear, consistent standards. Instead, we often hear debates around balance without deeper discussion or understanding of the mechanics at play. Meanwhile, games like Virtua Fighter and Dead or Alive, which have just as much depth, get overlooked entirely. I've been a part of the fighting game community for over 20 years, but I've been playing fighting games my whole life. I just came across the community, but I've seen these patterns before. It's important for us as a community to think critically about what makes a game balanced or unbalanced and recognize the strengths of different titles across the genre. Like, let me talk about Dead or Alive and its deeper mechanics, for example. For years, it's been dismissed because of its focus on character designs, but from a gameplay perspective, it is one of the most nuanced and strategically deep fighting games out there. It stands right alongside Virtua Fighter in terms of depth. In fact, I'd argue that Dragon Ball Sparking Zero also belongs in this conversation for its strategic layers, even if it's not traditionally recognized as a competitive fighter by some. All right, addressing the scrub mentality. One challenge we face in the FGC is the tendency to dismiss games we're not familiar with or haven't fully explored. This happens a lot with games like Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Some players feel that because they can't beat a certain character, like Super Saiyan Vegito with someone like Mr. Satan, the game shouldn't be taken seriously. But what's often overlooked is that Sparking Zero has systems in place that reward strategic thinking and skill play, even if certain characters appear stronger based on their source material. One such system is the Destruction Point mode. Here, players are given 15 points to build a team, which forces meaningful decision making before the match even begins. If you want to pick high tier characters like Beerus or Whis, you'll need to balance that with low tier options, which opens up the door to the strategic diversity. This kind of team building element adds depth and challenges players to think carefully about their roster. So, why is there gatekeeping going on? It's worth asking why certain games face gatekeeping in the FGC. Sometimes it's a reluctance to learn new systems or mechanics, and instead of embracing these challenges, players may discourage others from engaging with the game. The mindset becomes, if I'm not playing it, others shouldn't either. This kind of hinders the growth of a game's competitive scene and reduces the overall diversity of games being played in the community. To give some context, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero reached a peak of 120,000 players on PC alone. Even in recent activity, Sparking Zero now 82,000 players. These numbers show that there's a huge active player base that's enjoying the game, so it's worth reconsidering how we perceive games like this within the FGC. A misconception is that arena fighters like Sparking Zero are just button mashers with no depth. This couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, Sparking Zero has defensive mechanics and strategic layers that rival many traditional fighters. It's a game of timing, reactions, and strategy, and has very little guesswork involved. For me, one of the most rewarding aspects of fight games is constant engagement. Games like Sparking Zero, Killer Instinct, or Dead or Alive keep you involved from start to finish, with little downtime and a strong focus on skill. The absence of guess-heavy mechanics makes these games feel more precise and skill-based, which is something I personally value in the genre. Alright, now let's talk about the mental toll of guess-heavy mechanics. In contrast, guess-heavy games can be mentally exhausting. A lot of modern fighters rely on mechanics where players are forced into 50-50 situations that can swing the entire match. While these moments can add excitement, they also dilute the skill gap, making the game more about chance than strategy. Many players feel drained by these constant guessing situations, and while they argue over sets first to 2 versus first to 3, they're often suggested as a solution. The real issue lies in the design of the game itself. The more a game relies on guessing, the less it rewards true skill. Games that minimize these guess-based situations like Sparking Zero allow for more consistent, skillful play. While there is some guessing involved in the games I'm praising, there are layers of strategy and decision making you need to go through first before putting someone in a guessing situation. I also want to clarify that I'm not trying to talk down on games that incorporate more forced guessing elements as a part of their win conditions. That's a valid design choice, and those games have their own strengths. My point was to highlight the inconsistency in how we judge balance across different games, not to criticize those that lean more into guessing. It's about recognizing the hypocrisy and how we apply these standards, not dismissing those games entirely. At the end of the day, it's important for the FGC to develop clearer standards for what makes a game balanced, competitive, or broken, whatever you want to say. Too often, we judge a game based on surface level complaints or echo the loudest opinions without truly understanding the mechanics. If we're going to call a game or character broken or not competitive, we need to have thoughtful discussions and provide evidence to support these claims. We also need to embrace diversity in fighting games. Rather than gatekeeping or dismissing certain titles, we should recognize the depth and variety each game offers. There's no need to dismiss something just because it's different or unfamiliar. And let me be clear, if you don't want to play competitively, that's totally fine. Everyone doesn't have to dive into the deep end with modes like Destruction Point or deal with high-level mechanics. Games are meant to be fun, and not everyone has to be competitive to enjoy them. That's the beauty of fighting games. There's space for casual and competitive players alike. But this discussion is specifically for those who are talking about competitive play and game balance. It's important to understand what we're really talking about when we critique a game's mechanics and how they apply to high-level competition. If you just want to have fun, none of this has to matter. As a community, we should strive to appreciate the full range of fighting games and the unique challenges they present. Let's push ourselves to think critically, learn from one another, and continue to grow as a community. Alright, before I go, I want to throw out an open invite to anyone watching. If you're in chat while I'm live, come spar with me on PC in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. We'll be playing Destruction Point mode because I want to explore different strategies with you all, especially going forward for tournament and stuff. It's first come, first serve, and I'm always down to run matches. I love playing ranked, but sometimes I want a more relaxed environment where I can try out new stuff. Plus, being able to communicate with who I'm playing with during sparring sessions adds a whole new layer to improving and understanding the game. Also, make sure to join my Discord. That's where we document strategies, talk friendly smack, support each other, and help each other level up. If you're looking for a sparring partner, you want to lab something specific, or you just want to improve, jump in when I'm live, let's learn to level up together. Alright, thank you guys for listening. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Share this with anyone else you've been having this discussion with, and let me know what you guys think in the comments. I will be responding to stuff. Let's keep it clean and nice. I know some people got some strong opinions out there, as do I. But yeah, hope y'all had a good day, and I'll see you guys on some Dragon Ball Sparking Zero online later. Peace.